What if the words that heal weren't the ones you've memorized, but the ones you've missed? The verses that whisper between the lines of Scripture's most thunderous proclamations. In the spaces between breaths, God's most profound healing often arrives not through the familiar, but through the forgotten passages that wait like hidden springs in the desert of our pain. We live in a world of unending noise, medical diagnoses that echo in empty rooms, relationships that crack beneath the weight of unspoken words, bodies and spirits crying out for restoration that modern remedies cannot touch. Like the woman with the issue of blood who had spent all she had on physicians, many of us have exhausted every option. We've memorized Psalm 23 and Jeremiah 29-11. We've claimed Isaiah 53:5 until our voices grew hoarse. And yet, sometimes the healing tarries. But what if, like Elijah who found God, not in the earthquake or fire, but in the gentle whisper, our healing waits in the overlooked verses, the passages we've passed by countless times? Moses wandered 40 years before finding his purpose. Joseph endured a prison cell before his dream awakened. Sometimes God's most potent medicine comes wrapped in the pages we've left unturned. Today, we'll discover 5 healing scriptures you likely haven't heard used this way before, passages that, when paired with the restoration frequency of 528 Hz, speak directly to our deepest wounds. Ancient words meeting sacred sound to create spaces where divine healing can flow. Verse 1, Exodus 23:25. Worship the Lord your God, and his blessing will be on your food and water. I will take away sickness from among you. Most healing verses focus on what God has done or will do. But here there's a profound partnership, revealed, our worship becoming the vessel through which healing flows. This isn't transactional spirituality, it's transformational intimacy. When we truly worship, when we ascribe worth to God beyond what he can do for us, something shifts in the atmosphere around us. Like David playing his harp before Saul, true worship drives out the tormentors of our mind and body. What we consume, both physically and spiritually, becomes blessed when offered first in worship. The very water of your life can become medicine when sanctified by praise. Verse 2, Proverbs 16:24. Gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. We often underestimate how our words become either medicine or poison in our bodies. Science has now confirmed what Solomon knew thousands of years ago, that positive, gracious speech actually strengthens our immune system and promotes cellular healing. When was the last time you spoke healing over yourself? When did you last declare grace over your own failures instead of condemnation? The honeycomb of gentle self-talk doesn't just soothe your soul, it literally strengthens your bones. The 528 Hz frequency, known as the love frequency, resonates with the very same cellular structures that respond to gracious words. Together they create a harmony that invites restoration at your deepest level. Verse 3, Ecclesiastes 3:1-3, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal. What if I asked you, could it be that your healing hasn't failed, but simply hasn't reached its appointed season? These verses reveal a profound truth often overlooked. Healing has its divinely appointed time. Not everything is meant to be healed immediately. Some restoration comes only after the proper season of uprooting, of breaking down what cannot sustain wholeness. When we honor the sacred timing of our healing journey, we stop fighting against the very process designed to make us whole. Like a bone that must be reset, before it can mend. Sometimes breaking precedes breakthrough. Verse 4, 2 Kings 27. Then Isaiah said, "Prepare a poultice of figs." They did so and applied it to the boil, and Hezekiah recovered. Here we find something remarkable, a divine prescription that combines both spiritual authority and natural remedy. God didn't just speak Hezekiah's healing, he provided practical means through which the healing would flow. The fig poultice was a common ancient remedy, yet it became the conduit for supernatural healing when applied under prophetic direction. This teaches us that sometimes our healing comes through embracing both heaven's wisdom and earth's medicine, not choosing between them. Like the 528 Hz frequency, a natural sound that resonates with our body's design, God often uses elements of His creation as conductors of His healing power. Sacred sound and sacred substance working together to restore what was broken. Verse 5, Ezekiel 47:12. Fruit trees of all kinds will grow on both banks of the river. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail. Every month they will bear fruit, because the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will serve for food and their leaves for healing. In this prophetic vision, we discover perhaps the most overlooked healing principle in Scripture, that healing is not meant to be a one-time event, but a continuous, ever-renewing reality. Notice how these trees produce new fruit every month and leaves specifically designed for healing. This reveals God's heart that our restoration should be ongoing, seasonal, and consistently fruitful. The water flowing directly from God's sanctuary nourishes these healing trees. When we position ourselves by the flowing river of God's presence, we access not just momentary relief, but sustainable restoration that bears fruit in every season of our lives. These 5 verses reveal a tapestry of divine healing that transcends our conventional understanding. They show us that true restoration comes not just through a single prayer or scripture, but through a sacred harmony of worship that transforms our environment. Words that heal from the inside out. Wisdom that honors divine timing. Wonders that combine heaven and earth. Waters that sustain ongoing restoration. When we align our spirits with these forgotten principles and allow the sacred frequency of 528 Hz to resonate with their truth, we create a sanctuary where God's healing presence can dwell continuously. The ancients understood something we've forgotten, that sound itself carries healing properties. The priests used trumpets, cymbals, and stringed instruments in the temple, not just for celebration but for restoration. David's harp drove away tormenting spirit. The walls of Jericho fell to the sound of shouted praise. Sound and scripture together create pathways where divine healing flows most freely. The vibration of truth resonating through body, mind, and spirit. Perhaps you came seeking instant healing but found instead a deeper invitation to walk the patient path of restoration that transforms not just your circumstance, but your very being. These overlooked verses remind us that healing is less like lightning and more like dawn, a gradual illumination that spreads until darkness can no longer maintain its hold. Let these ancient words and sacred sounds continue their work long after this moment ends. For healing, like faith itself, grows stronger in the quiet persistence of hope. If this message brought you peace, subscribe to Sacred Horizon, where every story leads us closer to God. And remember, the verses that heal most deeply are often the ones we've passed by 1,000 times, waiting for the moment when our hearts were finally ready to receive their medicine.